What's up, y'all? It's Lawrence from Just Geeking Out. And today I am ranking my Batman movies from least to greatest. We've had some amazing movies. Batman is like the most flexible character ever created. He can be campy, he can be gothic. He is so dope. Only Batman films. So Affleck did not have his own Batman film. So unfortunately, he's not on the list. I'm not ranking characters or actors, just Batman movies. Purely Batman movies. Adam West won't be on the list, the 66 Batman, although it did have a movie. This show served more as a parody, although I love it. This is what brought me to the dance as far as like comics and stuff, but he's not on the list, and we're only doing live action. So we're not going to do Batman Mask of the Phantasm, although this probably is the greatest Batman film of all time. It's animated, which means it was able to take liberties. First up on the list, least favorite, worst Batman film of all time is Batman and Robin, George Clooney and Chris O'Donnell. Now, to be quite honest with you, I knew there was something wrong with this movie when I saw it when I was a kid, but I also liked a lot of this movie. I love the costumes. Batman and Robin's costumes are dope. And as a kid, I didn't really pay attention to nipples. I thought their designs were dope. I liked the idea of him being like Nightwing. He's stepping out on his own. But it was way too campy. Bane being a blithering idiot just didn't sit well, especially since by that point I've read Nightfall. And Schwarzenegger as Freeze with the puns. I did not dig it, although his design was great. I just, from the animated series, Victor Freeze was a brilliant scientist. I did love Alicia Silverstone as Batgirl, and we even got a glimpse of her in her cowl. I love the suits, not the ice suits, but the regular suits. Yo, Uma Thurman was amazing in this film. If you can get beyond the campiness of it, she came in and she killed it. Her Poison Ivy, it was absolutely great. Batman and Robin was fun, but very, very flawed. Next up, y'all gonna get me, but Batman Returns. Look, Batman Returns is an aesthetically wonderful, exciting film, but Batman is barely in it. Bruce Wayne does not have a story arc in Batman Returns. Burton focused more on the villains. He focused more on Catwoman, Penguin, and Maxwell Shreck. It's almost like he didn't really want to make a Batman movie. He wanted to make a gritty Gotham movie with the origin of all these villains, which are great, but as a Batman movie, as a Batman vehicle, it fell all the way short. Now, what was great, though, was the dynamics between Batman and Catwoman, and even his grotesque version of Penguin was dope. It kind of went too far. Burton went from being gothic and kind of cool and gritty in the original Batman movie to taking this into its own version of camp. To me, this is campy. It's just more Nightmare Before Christmas camp. So I could have been down with it. I could have been down with the style of this, even as a kid watching this. I was like 8 years old and I was like, where's Batman? Next up, The Dark Knight Rises. I had a hard time with this film. This is a great film. Christopher Nolan doesn't make bad films, but this film wasn't fun. To me, a Batman film still needs to be fun, and this film didn't have fun. Sometimes with these films, Nolan goes for such realism that you miss the fantastical nature of Batman that makes it fun. Like this Catwoman, Anne Hathaway was great, but she was never called Catwoman. And she only looked kind of like a cat because her goggles flipped up, creating ears. It's like that kind of realism, although it was great when you're trying to do this realistic take, it does take some of the fun and joy of what makes Batman Batman. And taking Bane, this hulking, imposing figure with super strength and kind of making him so realistic is great for a film, but you lose the fun. And I did. Now, Batman Forever, yes, it's above The Dark Knight Rises and Batman Returns. Batman Forever is dope. It is the first action adventure Batman movie. Jim Carrey was great. Tommy Lee Jones, I don't think had to ham it up as much. Just let Jim Carrey be the ham. Val Kilmer was a good Batman, a great Bruce Wayne. We got the introduction of Robin in here, his origin story. First time we're seeing a live action Robin since Burt Ward in 1966. And in that Tim Drake suit, this movie is dope. And guess what, guys? Why is this better than Batman Returns? Is because it's about Batman. He has a dilemma, a character arc, if you will, in this film. So I thought this was great. This was dialed in. This was how I played with my toys as a kid. It was an action adventure Batman movie. Chef's kiss. Only negative is that I thought Tommy Lee Jones hammed it up a bit too much. Next up is Batman Begins. Batman Begins was a really, really great depiction of Bruce Wayne's journey becoming Batman. I'll say, though, him before becoming Batman was way more interesting to me than when he did become Batman, with the exception of like the car chase scene and stuff. The whole ninja training stuff was dope. By the time we got to Batman, like it just didn't have enough flair for me. Like I said, Nolan makes these films so realistic, it loses part of it that makes it fun. But Batman Begins was great. My only big issue actually is Scarecrow's the villain. Scarecrow is the villain. And the effects they use to show fear, how deep he got into the psychology of fear and what it looks like on screen, was really lacking here, man. This could have been a horror type film because you're seeing your greatest fears come to life. And I feel like they didn't go as far as they should have gone, but still an amazing movie. The actors, Christian Bale, Michael Caine, Morgan Freeman, Liam Neeson, like these people came to kill it, and they did. Gary Oldman, they gave us a Commissioner Gordon that felt like it was right out of the comic books. So there were so many things about this film that were absolutely great. But unfortunately, they didn't have as much, I'll say this all the time with the Christopher Nolan Batman films, they didn't have as much fun with the Scarecrow. Also, their Gotham City didn't have character. It was just like a regular city. There was nothing about it that felt doom and gloom. It wasn't a character, with the exception of the Narrows, the Undercity, but that kind of goes away in the next two films. Next up, stylistically, tone, Batman 89 is such a rich movie. It's the first time we got to see the Cape Crusader on screen in this dark, kind of gritty gothic style that paved the way for almost every superhero film going forward. It's just great. Michael Keaton is amazing. Jack Nicholson is over the top and great. There's so much about this film that is campy, that is fun in nature. Camp isn't a bad word. It means there's a level of fantasticalness, if that's a word, that allows us to escape. It's real enough where you buy into these characters, but fantastical enough where you can believe that this guy dresses up in a bat suit and has bat-themed toys. This movie was great. Michael Keaton's a beast. Jack Nicholson, Kim Basinger, I always pronounce her name wrong. I thought this movie's fantastic. Aesthetically, it's just beautiful. Like, this is how Gotham City ought to be in my head. Just dark, gritty, gothic. Perfect. Now, The Dark Knight. You probably can see that this isn't number one on my list, but this is definitely the best film on the list. This is an amazing movie. It's realistic, it's gritty, but what makes this different than the other Nolan Batman films is the Joker. Heath Ledger's Joker just was phenomenal, and he was the clown prince of crime. He was campy, he was fantastical. He didn't dial back his Joker to fit this gritty real world, the Joker that doesn't laugh or smile. No, he depicted it pretty much right out the comics, with the exception of him falling into a vat of chemicals. But everything about this Joker leapt out of the realism and the gritty nature, and that's what elevates The Dark Knight. It keeps it feeling like a comic book movie in a great way. Now, Two-Face, what a great actor, but it's just a missed opportunity to create this villain and, like, spoiler alert, kill him in the next 10 minutes. It's like, just get rid of your villain. And there's so much around him having a multiple personalities and this other voice in his head that would have been great. But here we are, the best Batman film of all time. Yes, I said it. The Batman is the best Batman film. It pulls together all the things that make the other films work. It's gothic and gritty, like it's a Gotham City that never has sunlight, even during the day, always raining. That kind of feels like that Tim Burton feel. But it also has that edgy realism to it, that grittiness, that Nolan feel to it. But it's still fantastical. You still feel like you're on an adventure. Kind of like the Joel Schumacher films where you seen Batman on a caper. And he is Batman a lot, and Batman is in this film a lot. He's not just tucked away, and it's given us our best on-screen depiction of Catwoman. I love Michelle Pfeiffer. Zoe Kravitz was like right out the comic books. This movie's fantastic, and for the first time, it gives us Batman as who he really is, the world's greatest detective. Penguin was amazing. Colin Farrell like disappeared in the role, and if you watch his performance as Penguin, similar to Heath Ledger's Joker, it has a flamboyance to it, an air that it can be more surreal and more fantastical. And then they gave us a Riddler, not just gritty and serial killer, but he also like left clues and riddles you had to solve. This movie was great. This is Batman in his truest form. And anybody who's mad at Pattinson for not bulking up, but you still loved Michael Keaton, go sit on a cactus. It takes more than muscles to be Batman. And he did it. This film did it. Tell me in the comments what y'all think. Best Batman film of all time. Not saying the best Batman of all time. Not saying the best storyline of all time. I'm saying out of all the films, this one stands as the best Batman film of all time. We'll get into who I think is the best Batman of all time in another video. But make sure you like, subscribe, and yeah, I'll be back. Same bat time, same bat channel.